well as his
All right, we're live.
down the seat, but
Back to you from Dallas, Texas.
But
Home of the steers and
Republicans.
and Democrats and steers.
Cowboys, Mavs,
Who?
Stars,
Mavs.
Rangers.
Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Cowboy-
They're back in
cow
season.
pussies?
Ooh, shit.
They're from Dallas. They're
Cow
America's.
pussies.
There's America's team.
Cow pussies. Can't win a game.
Season hasn't started yet.
Don't they actually have preseason already going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they win yet?
They did the Chargers yesterday.
I think they've won one or two. But who can
See, this is the interesting thing about it is I think they've won one or two.
It's preseason. Nobody cares.
It doesn't make a
preseason.
difference. I mean,
None
you
of the
want to
players
see,
play.
but you want
Everybody
to
says
see.
preseason doesn't
Hey,
count.
you need to turn my mic up a little bit. All right. Thank you very much. I like to hear my voice.
Yes, he does.
There you
And
go.
turn ours down so we don't have to hear his voice.
Well, that would be your mic. That'll be your
Well, I said
Headphones.
turn ours down.
that would be your headphones, though.
Well, then turn it down so then we don't have to hear you.
My name is Rick, and I have a dream.
I am the dream.
I need a drink.
Welcome to another episode of Buddies, Booze, Banters, Unfiltered Conversations. I'm Rick.
Michael.
And I'm Alex.
I'm Kara.
Ooh, we're speaking now, huh?
Well, yeah, we'll
I
get
was
it.
feeling comfortable introducing
I think
myself.
this topic we're going to talk about. I want to get your input on this because
Oh, boy.
I mean, well, no, we need a female perspective.
Well, did
Okay.
we not need a female perspective in the last episode? We got
Well,
nothing.
They didn't ask
We got a goose egg.
What?
But I think this is kind of like the underlining issue specifically when it comes to politics, but also just I mean to have a non-testosterone type opinion is going to be good on this one.
I don't know. I've been told I'm the male in most of my
Yeah,
relationships.
she'll chug a beer and
In the
crush it.
relationship,
Well,
in the
throw it
at
relationship
you.
that I know you about, you are. Just saying. Anyways, this is a topic that we want to talk about on this particular episode that's kind of interesting because Michael and I were at the pub the other day and it came up. Michael actually kind of brought it up and we got into kind of not a heated debate, but we got into a decent amount of debate at the bar. You know, and we were
wrong.
Well, we were on different sides, obviously, of the opinion. Clearly, me being right, him being wrong. But I mean,
Enough said.
and it was really about kind of like political correctness and
Because I have
wokeness.
tickets. I did.
And I'm gonna pass the baton here to you in a
No,
second,
keep
Michael.
going.
It was really about sports teams and how over the last couple of years there's been a huge push in trying to actually be politically correct and changing the names of some of the sports teams. Obviously,
What?
Yeah, well, you think about it. Washington Redskins,
Right.
Now they're Washington Commanders. Obviously, when I was living and
that's
working in D.C., I used to work for Richie Pettibone, who was actually the defensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins, as well as became the head coach for a year and got fired, of course. But then also Norv Turner was around the same time. So I'm a fan of obviously the Redskins,
Right.
and that's how I know them. I mean, I'm still kind of like trying to understand the Commanders, but I also understand from a negative perspective of why there is a push to. I mean, Redskins. That's always been a negative associated to that. Redskins. Obviously, I mean, we talk about yellow skin. What is yellow skin? Asians. Again, that's negative. So I mean, Michael is of the impression because he's a sports fan that there's no reason to change the names.
I love a good fried rice. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
What? Is that racist?
I think it's dumb that they did change it from the Redskins.
His name is
Yeah.
Alex Mondok, and he.
Thank you.
Any of the negativity goes towards him. I mean, you're for it.
no, she was.
No, I don't see a reason to change it
Okay.
from the Redskins.
So give me because this is interesting. Give me your perspective of
People
what,
are too sensitive.
Well, I mean, I think there's a point that yes, it gets overly sensitive, but I mean, there's also sort of a. I mean, take for instance, he mentioned the Atlanta Braves. They haven't changed their name. I don't think Braves is classified as a negative towards Indians.
But there were a lot of people that were protesting Atlanta saying they shouldn't do it.
I'm not saying that there are some fringe organizations out there that simply do it just to do it.
Well, and that's the point. There are no
No.
matter what.
But again, they haven't changed their names because I think they recognize that that's not an ongoing kind of like, yeah, they're going
There's
to push it
still
hard.
a lot of teams pressure. Okay, look at the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, I don't think the Cleveland Indians is an issue because they are Indians.
What's the Forney?
But they changed their name.
What are the Forneys?
Jackrabbits?
They're now the Guardians.
They
are?
What happened to
Yes.
Jackrabbits?
No, I'm talking about the Cleveland Indians,
Oh.
the baseball team. They changed their name.
What I would say to that is like I do disagree with that because Indians are Indians. You know,
Black
I
people
mean-
are black people.
But
Asians are
this
Asians.
is the part where it comes
I mean, it's
out.
like- but no, think
Everybody
about
wants to make everything so politically correct, and
no,
it's like,
but think
No,
about this.
People are getting overly offended
Mm-hmm.
over whatever because it's like, in my opinion, misery loves company.
Oh,
there's no doubt about
Somebody
that. No doubt.
always needs to
But
have
my
something
question
to
to
bitch
you,
about.
but my question to the table here is like, if in fact the Cleveland Indians changed their name because
not if they did.
they changed the names to the Guardians. Okay, well then why are we going to change Dallas Cowboys?
We should.
We are?
If we're going.
Then if
that
we're gonna
route.
go, if you're gonna
Exactly.
go that route, then it's like
I don't
if
want
there's
to,
a
I'm
problem,
not
saying we
if there's
want
a
to.
wrong with
That's-
Cowboys and
We're not going
Indians,
to
then
change it.
get
Why
rid
would
of
they
the
change it? It's the
Cowboys.
most valuable
Exactly.
franchise in the fucking.
That's where my
thing.
line is there too. I actually agree with you that the Cleveland Indians shouldn't change their names.
They
the
did,
Atlanta
though.
Braves shouldn't change their names.
But
You know,
there's
but-
all kinds of
but-
pressure.
But there are obviously, negative slang words that have been used in historical perspective, like redskin. And don't get me wrong, I know them as Redskins. I don't know them as Commanders.
Nobody knows them as commanders.
Exactly. And I also brought up that being another DC team was obviously we had the Washington Bullets, which was the NBA team. And of course, because it was such the murder capital of the year.
Anti-gun and
Well,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
and it's a
blah.
bullet. Well, and they went for a long time without even a real name. And then all of a sudden they named themselves the Washington Wizards. I was like, well, isn't there a wizard KKK?
You can find.
My point is I can
You
find
can-
anything.
Exactly. I was just about to say you can find offense in anything. Commander.
But the overtly obvious ones like Redskin, I get it. I'm not happy with the name change because again, I'm not following them, but I get it. And again, if it's negative in regards to using towards that race, absolutely, it's a problem. I don't think the Braves, I don't think the Indians is a negative.
But you could say it's not a negative, but the same group that went after the Redskins, went after the Cleveland Indians, went
Well, there's
on
always a
Atlanta.
political agenda for something.
It's just like, come on, we cannot. Everybody's going to be a little bit racist on anything. We all are to a point. But it's just
Are
like,
you Obama? Because he kind of said that. He actually said, we all have our prejudice.
we all do.
We all do. That's fair.
He
we
said
all
that on the
do.
speech of the DNC.
Don't you?
But we all
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
No, but
I hate white trash.
We all
Yeah.
do, but you get this group that wants to make everything so sterile, and it's just like, fuck off.
Well, I don't
And don't
necessarily.
bleep that because I want that to be said.
I don't necessarily think fuck off is the way to actually approach it. I do think though, yes, there needs to be. Calm down a little bit. Calm down a little bit. Let's actually, talk about this and overanalyze it if we have to. But yes, going overboard in regard to every single name that actually is associated to some sort of ethnic group. Yeah, that's a little bit too much. I get that. Especially since it's not necessarily meant, especially when they're on the field playing. Cleveland Indians,
Right.
That they're
We don't actually.
I'm going to hit the Indians.
We don't actually think they're Indians.
Yeah, I get that.
But if you're gonna say
and matter of fact, I would be on the other side. Is especially if they're a winning fucking team, they're good. The Indians are good.
Did the Raiders change their name?
No, they're the
No.
Raiders.
they're
See,
still
that could be offensive too.
How?
pirates, don't they have the
Everything
patch?
going back to Anglo-Saxon and
Yeah,
the
but pirates are
Vikings
negative no matter
into
what.
The Cowboys raiding over the Indians. Hello, you can find offense in anything.
That's the
Right.
whole thing about it. You can. And then you kind of got to get on the borderline of wokeness and stuff like that, which is a lot of individuals are talking about with that, and especially in the politics that we're dealing with nowadays. Now, do I believe
But-
that we should be a little bit more conscious and cognizant of individuals who are offensive? I
Right.
do. But I also do not believe that those individuals who are driving those anti this, anti that should be so overt and actually is changing the minds of it, because most people who sit there and we're probably talking about the Washington Redskins weren't talking about the Washington Redskins for the negativity of it.
Right.
They were just talking about they're fucking losing.
I
You know?
mean, but I'm
Change their name.
just saying.
Change the name.
I can remember in the '90s when I was living in Minneapolis, and the Twins were playing the Braves in the World Series. And this was when Jane Fonda was dating, what's his name?
Warner. Turner?
Ted Turner.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, there was all kinds of protest in Minneapolis because they didn't like the Braves' name. They need to change it.
Jane Fonda
Well,
dated Ted Turner.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's
know that.
had like 4 or 5 husbands.
And then at that time, it was like,
Do you-
there was a sign where they would go,
of,
whoa.
you know what Ted Turner is?
CNN, he created CNN.
Yeah, and the TBS.
Yeah.
Turner Broadcasting.
Right.
So, I mean, so there was a lot of protesting and all this stuff is, and then it's like, then the Braves, they play their music with the thing where they would do the tomahawk.
well, that-
and then
that-
and then Jane Fonda got on
like
it.
that?
Well,
And then you're going to say that's racist too, and you shouldn't be
no,
doing
no,
that.
No, don't change the name, but don't obviously overtly show negativity because then they started saying that Indians were scalping whites and shit like that. I mean, that's the whole point that
But
was
that's the
associated with
point.
that.
You can't. Okay, but okay, it's like.
Wait, I thought it was
No.
an offense to the Indians rather than them scalping white people.
Because you're saying negative things about the Indians. My point being is like what we need to know
It's history.
is our history.
It happened.
It's
It's history.
history.
no,
It happened.
no, that's the
It
whole point about
happened.
it. But we don't need to overtly put it in sports.
Oh,
My point.
that-
No.
that-
Hold on. Because this can actually veer off to another subject that we've actually talked about. And specifically about... I've lost my train of fucking thought.
Well,
Oh, come on! It was right there on the tip.
Oh, my God. Oh, shit.
well, then let me take
Talk
it to
about
the next.
something else
Let me
and
take
then
it to
come
the
back
next.
to it.
Take it to the next level.
Take the next level. Okay, because it's like because one thing else I added is that okay there's a few school names here in the Texas area, and especially in the Dallas area, that
I know
basically
you're going. Yeah,
it just came back to
they're
them.
trying to change their name.
And they should if they're actually a Confederacy soldier.
well,
or general.
this is the point where I mean number
And, this,
one is
and you're thinking of it from a different perspective of what I am. But go ahead.
but it's just like okay these schools have been named this way for like 70 years.
Yeah.
No one
and
had
Jim
an
Crow
issue
time.
with
And nobody had an issue with it.
during the Jim Crow
And-
times.
but
they
I'm just-
didn't have an issue because the Jim Crow
But
advocates
I'm
were
just-
in power, and they purposely put those names on there to basically say, "Screw you."
But I'm just
Let's be honest.
And two
But I'm
fingers
just
in the
telling
front,
you, anybody.
one in the back.
Okay,
Yeah, you see in the UK we do that.
Yep. Two in the pink, one in
What
the
I'm
snake.
just saying is, it's just like these have been named. Schools have been named for over 70 years.
And they've been named that because they were actually dentists. Just like
They-
we are
these-
going to establish
These
our
were
legacy.
these were people.
we're
from
going to establish the legacy of the Confederacy, and the fact of the matter is,
This
we
is-
wanted our own country and things of that sort. A whole different subject, Michael, versus the Indians and the Braves and all
Right.
this other shit.
These
Simply
are
because
people of
no,
the Texas
the Confederacy
history.
was attempting to actually split our union. They were about pro slavery.
Yeah.
No, they're pro-
It's like you're talking about stuff that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to talk about.
I do. It's our history.
I know, and it's just like we named people after our history.
So let me ask you this. So in I think it's DeKalb or Fulton County, I'm not sure what it was in Georgia, today or yesterday, they unveiled a statue of John Lewis, obviously a civil rights activist and leader, who walked across, the bridge in Alabama with, Martin Luther King and what have you. His statue replaced a Confederacy leader. Are you okay with that?
I don't have a problem with it.
So why don't we replace a good individual, not necessarily black, but somebody in our country who actually has done good for our country, replace the names on those Confederacy named schools with somebody's good?
Because this is it's Texas history.
I get we want to learn our history. We don't need to display our negative history every single day.
It's like you're going to get rid of everything. If they get rid of everything that is negative that happens ever.
The interesting thing about
it's
what you're
just like
saying.
if somebody is okay. You're basically saying if somebody ever murdered somebody.
No, I'm not saying
then
that.
their
Well,
name
first
could
of all,
never be on anything.
Well, first of all, they murdered. If they're a murderer, most likely they were not going to be
but-
recognized.
Yeah. Where were you going
let's
with
be
that?
honest with this.
but I'm just saying is like you're trying to say is if
I'm not going to put
anybody-
it. John Hinckley a statue somewhere or on his name.
All
on a
right,
school.
do you think there should be a school named after Trump?
No. He actually incited an insurrection. He attempted to do a political coup.
But but the question I have is when does it
That's why I'm
stop?
against them. Actually, they put in there to replace Dulles Airport in D.C. to Donald Trump.
And it's like if they want,
they were gonna do that?
If they want to
Oh,
call
Republicans
it,
put that in.
If they want to call it that, then let them call it that.
Well, no, obviously, the
But
House has to approve it.
I'm just tired because it's just like you get all these things that are just like there has not been a problem for it
You know,
for
the
like
interesting thing
70
about what that
years,
does, though,
and then all of a sudden,
this is where the age demographic divide occurs. And don't take this the wrong way because I'm not knocking your age.
no, yes, he is.
But no, you're
So then
of,
why is he saying that?
but you're of a-
You're not that much younger than me.
I'm not, but I'm not boomer. You are.
I'm at the tail end of the boomer.
You are on the tail end, but you're still boomer. And most of the boomers have that thought process where it's like, it's history, whatever. I mean, I get it. Yeah, they're going to be dead soon. I get that. But bottom line is from a historical perspective, and I want our people in this country to learn our history, but they need to
No,
learn
you're not.
They need to learn our history the right way.
And who
if it
decides what's the right way?
I think it's
Okay.
No,
Wait.
I think it's pretty obvious.
What about
I
what
think
they're
it's-
doing in Florida right now? They're
I need
banning
popcorn.
books.
You need
They're
popcorn?
That's my
they're
point.
banning books
That's
and
my
all this
point.
other stuff because you got some people that have made a call to do that stuff and it's just
So
like
tell me
it's
what
different
books,
than changing.
What books in Florida are they banning that you're against?
I don't know because I'm not paying attention.
Well, there you go. That's one of the problems.
But I'm just saying is you got things that people should be spending more time doing other things. It does not matter what a fucking school is called. It's been called this way for so long, and it's just like the people nowadays don't even really realize what it was for.
Okay, so you done? Good. The point about is you talk about historical perspective. I'm okay about historical perspective and learning about it. I'm not about displaying it on there and recognizing them as something good. On a school, on a bridge, on an airport, on a statue, put it in the fucking books. Let the students learn it. That's the historical negativity of this country. That's the books in Florida that they're banning. There is no longer, I mean, who was it? I forget which politician basically said that from a slavery was just another job thing. I mean, they wanted to be slaves. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think they
Seriously. Negativity on our historical perspective does need to be learnt, remembered, and recognized. It does not need to be displayed as something positive on a building, on a church, on a bridge, on an airport, on a statue, on a team. That's not where it belongs. It belongs in our historical knowledge base so that we can learn about it. Why? So we don't do it again. So we learn from our past, our negative past. That's
I
the
actually
point.
agree with Rick on this one.
I don't care. That's
I'm
fine.
okay. I'm okay with like putting Robert E. Lee's name in a book, but know what he was for, what he stood for, in demolishing this country and splitting this country apart. Not because it was the right thing to do, but because they wanted to have blacks in chains and picking cotton and shit like that. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Okay.
I'm just saying. So, I mean, I think that there is a fine line in regards to, putting names on teams and things of that sort, which is really where the topic started on it. But I also believe that we need to recognize there are some sort of groups out there that can get offended.
Okay, so what about these cities like Austin and Houston? Should they be renamed?
So what?
Well, I mean,
Austin renaming the city?
Yeah, it's named after,
Houston's named after Sam Houston.
Sam
isn't it?
Houston.
Right.
Yeah.
I have an elementary
The
school.
Alamo and all
Yeah,
that.
but that's so. I mean, why?
No, no, no,
why would
no,
you
no.
rename a whole city like that?
No, well, so here's the thing.
I don't, Michael. I don't think that they should be renamed. To your
Where
point.
I live in Denton.
But that is
Kara never really talks, so let's.
that is a political
Let her
difference.
talk. Let her talk.
But yes, go ahead.
I'm just saying, where I live in Denton, there's an elementary school for Sam Houston. It's Sam Houston Elementary or whatever. And probably about, I want to say like 6 years ago, there was like a petition to rename the school because they were offended that it was named after Sam Houston.
Right.
Obviously, that didn't work because it's still Sam Houston. But I mean, I get where it's coming from. I get both sides.
But
I do.
I'm just saying is if you're gonna do that, then you got to change the name of Houston and Austin. This is
I
where
don't think it's that easy though.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Well, when it comes to the
point is
no.
that you got to change these school names because you shouldn't be doing this and all this stuff, then you need to change these city names too. There's no different in the justification. It's all the exact same as, and I'm just saying is it's part of our history. It's what we're called.
I agree with Michael too.
So
I'm Switzerland.
But I mean, to the point of Sam Houston, I think it's very important to actually understand the controversy. Because I mean, I don't think you understand Austin and Houston in regards to the individuals they're named after.
Yeah,
and it really has
like
to
a
do
lot of work.
With the Republic of Texas. It has to do in regards to making that its own country, but also eventually the United States. So Houston was reunited with a group of Cherokees in 1829 because of Houston's experience in government and his connections with President Jackson. Several local Native American tribes asked Houston to mediate disputes and communicate their needs to the Jackson administration. In late 1829, the Cherokee accorded Houston tribal membership and dispatched him to Washington to negotiate several issues in anticipation of the removal of the remaining Cherokees east of the Mississippi River. Houston made an unsuccessful bid to supply rations to the Native Americans during their journey. When Houston returned to Washington in 1832, Congressman William Stanbury alleged that Houston had placed a fraudulent bid in 1830 in collusion with the Jackson administration. On April 13th, 1832, after Stanbury refused to answer Houston's letters regarding the incidents, Houston beat Stanbury with a cane. This was actually known inside of there's movies about that one. After the beating, the House of Representatives brought Houston to trial by the vote of 106 to 89. The House convicted Houston, and the Speaker of the House, Andrew Stevenson, formally reprimanded Houston. A federal court also required Houston to pay $500 in damages, which at this stage would probably be about $5 million. So I mean, again, he was also part of the revolution. There's just so much negativity history now. Do I think that you could change? But do I think you can change a entire city's name after this? No, not at all.
Not at all.
But again, you're pushing the envelope in regards to this subject matter.
Well, they wanted to rename it because he owned slaves, even though he let them.
Yeah, but what's wrong with having that as part of history? Like what is like? I agree with Rick. What's wrong with just understanding where we've made our mistakes what we did to overcome them? Because we don't have slavery now.
I think that this will surprise Michael in regards to my opinion on this. I don't believe in reparations. The fact of the matter is the ancestors of the individuals who had slaves, who owned slaves, should not be paying who were the ancestors of the slaves.
Right. They shouldn't have to pay for what happened in the past.
If I went back in the history of the generations of my family on both sides, I'm pretty sure there's some negative shit there. My father...
That's a given.
My grandfather owned tobacco farm in Windsor Loch, Connecticut. Well, owned Windsor Loch,
So you think there should be a Gantley University?
Well, there's a Gantley Road, but there's not a university. But, the point being is, I'm sure there was some nefarious things that occurred. I don't necessarily probably agree with everything they did, so I shouldn't actually be required to pay for their crimes,
right?
Or pay for their opinions, or pay for their wrongness, in my opinion. So, but the point being is, like, if you look at like baseball, you look at football, or you look at basketball, this is the 19th century type teams. This is something that apparently, because of Jim Crow, we didn't learn our fucking lessons of 1863 during the Civil War. Let's be honest, we didn't.
Right.
That's my point. I think that there is selections of what you're talking about that you're legitimately correct on, Michael. But I also believe that there's another side of the equation where there are ethnic groups who have been violated. Ethnic groups have actually been marginalized. Yeah, let's have some consciousness of what they've been through, their ancestors.
But I'm just saying is you got this group that's just trying to sterilize the history and all that stuff is, and you're never gonna get me on this stuff.
Back the fuck up. Right now, the individuals who are trying to sterilize our histories is the GOP by banning these books, removing all the actual information about our historical perspective on the negative side out of our libraries, out of our schools, out of our education, out of our universities. Those are the individuals who should be held accountable. You're sitting here fighting the wrong battle.
Yeah, right.
No,
Don't you
I'm
agree,
just
Kara? Like, I mean, you can't mask over things that have happened in the past.
We have to learn from it.
We have to learn from it. Otherwise, we're going to repeat it again.
Thank you. History does repeat itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we, and I know this is like present and today, if we do not elect somebody but Trump, history will repeat itself, and we are back in the 1930s.
Right, so I agree with that part also, because we've already seen this chapter with Trump. So if we didn't like it then, why would we do it again?
Well, I mean, this is one thing that Obama said during the actual DNC speech. He's just like, we always know the sequel's worse. We saw his 4 years.
Terminator 3 sucks balls. Terminator 4 sucks balls.
All of them. But the bottom line is like
sucks balls.
Not only do we know what he did in his first term and what he talks about on the campaign trail, but we also know his guide, his manifesto of Project 2025. We know what he's going to do. History repeats itself. We will have a Nazi in our Oval Office if Donald Trump is elected. My point being is like we need to understand and we need to know our past.
Be worse because he has unfinished business. He's going to do what he didn't do.
He is going to jail people. He is going to run people down who are against him, his political opponents. Yep. You know, and
especially since we went after him over the last 4 years, so he's going to make sure.
Whoa, back up here. On our bandwagon?
No, I mean like we.
Whoa, you're on our bandwagon? He's on our bandwagon? Wow. Kamala's really got you.
I've always had a thing for darker women. I'm kidding.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, if that's what you like.
Oh, I've always loved beautiful dark women. Women of color. So, I mean, again, Michael, I just think that, it's a little bit more complicated than just simply saying political correctness has gone too far, specifically on naming of sports teams and things of that sort. It's a much bigger topic. And I
I like how you take both sides of it, and depending on what the topic is, you justify it one way and you don't on the other.
No, because I do believe that there is validity on both sides of it. I do believe that you actually, have some correctness, and when you sit here and you talk about, Cleveland Indians. Are you kidding me? That makes no sense to me. That's again, I would change the name to Dallas Cowboys.
But
Cowboys and Indians, right? Hoo-hoo.
But I'm just saying you went off on Florida banning all this other stuff, and I get
you brought Florida up.
Well, or whoever did.
You did.
Wait, I take that back. Okay, I did. I mentioned Florida. You mentioned the Republicans right now.
Because that was
wait, just be quiet just a second. But the key is where does it stop?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Because basically, if you have it where people can ban school names, teams or whatever, I'm okay. If the school board and they decide they want to change it and all that stuff is, I'm okay with all that.
So let me ask you this question.
But you have people changing it just because these people did bad things.
Can I ask you a question, Michael, that might be slightly offensive?
Go ahead.
What is your news source? Is it only CNN?
No. He's good about going through them all.
No, I'll go through all of them.
Okay. He loves to actually.
That was an honest question.
He loves to spend a Fox to see what they're saying.
Ultimately,
that's better.
To see what they're saying.
Okay.
To see what they're showing.
No, but what I'm saying is there's a school. Back when I was going to school.
What I'm asking though is, do you read past page 1?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just asking. That's why I prefaced it.
And I will say that I probably have pushed him towards reading deeper, more so in his last few years that I've known him.
That's what I was telling my mom. I'm like, Mom, you got to read past page 1.
I don't like headlines. Headlines are clickbait. It's all about trying to rile the people up because most Americans do not read the articles.
Right.
Do not read the actual information there.
Right.
Michael does.
I'm
defending you.
I know. I'm shocked on one point.
It was an honest question. I love you.
But it will change. It'll change in a heartbeat for him.
But to be fair, it seems like all you do is watch CNN.
No,
he doesn't.
Okay.
He actually likes NSBC
That's what Charles is on. Okay.
MSNBC.
Yeah.
Only the Republican type people now win most.
Actually, it's the Republicans who are no longer. Well, I wouldn't say anti-Trump Republicans on MSNBC that he likes.
Yeah.
He does have some issues with those extreme liberal Democrats.
I do have it on the extremists.
But I have a question for you.
Okay.
So.
Shaved or hairy down there? The listeners want to know.
If we actually have, I don't know, a building that's named after Frederick Douglass. I'm sure we have lots of buildings and bridges named against Frederick Douglass. And the Republicans now take over the White House, the House, and the actual Senate. And they decide they want to change that name because they want to erase history. How are you going to stand on that one?
It's it's going to be. It's like I personally probably would say don't change it. But that's where I'm just saying is you're doing
and that's
stuff,
a positive history.
But you're doing stuff that basically is nobody has really issues with it, but people are doing it as dividing everybody.
So you don't want to change it. The positive history of Frederick Douglass or the new currency of Harriet Tubman.
But basically, you're saying is positive history is based on different people's opinions.
So when the Republicans,
you're saying is
when the Republicans in Congress,
what you're saying is positive history. It's like, okay, the Republicans are in the House, they might want to name things this way. The Democrats get it, they're going to name it this way.
There's a difference, though.
What? No, it's not.
One's negative history and one's positive history.
Based on whose rules?
Are you saying that Frederick Douglass did not do positive in the country in our history?
I'm not saying.
Do you think that Harriet Tubman did not?
Don't lose it. Don't lose your stance, brother.
It's like I don't know. I don't know except what people have told me.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Most Americans, they don't research. The fact of the matter is they wanted to put Harriet Tubman on a stamp. And who actually were fighting? We got it done. But who was fighting it was the Republicans. They did not want to recognize
anything
positive history.
Anything that gets named now is going to be based on the standards that we've got right now, and it could be the controversy.
Most of the things that are being named now, most, not all, are about positive impacts they've had on our society, on our history. It's not like all these Confederate soldiers who massacred many people. It's not on the fact that I'm a plantation owner and I want to have slaves. It's not. I mean, there's a difference, Michael, about negative and positive.
I'm just saying is you're not going to get me on this, so we probably should just.
No, I already got you on it.
No, you don't, because it's like you just.
Oh no, he's on it.
No, because it's just one of those where it's just like people are going where you're trying to change stuff,
and that is a generational thing.
And if you're talking about like changing school names, and then I bring it up saying to city, you can't change the city name because it's on there, but it's like there is
first of all, there's so much impact on the city name change, but I will say this.
There's no difference in this, and then plus
there also, because it's like
also in the state of Texas, you get rid of a lot of stuff because ultimately our history is what it is.
Racist.
We name things after. Okay, then fine. Without the way
criminal.
I'm just glad I have drinks
criminal. Racist and criminal. I mean, but that's fine. I get that.
Okay, fine.
But do you think the Republicans in this state are going to allow you to learn about it?
So I can say this stuff.
I can say it because I'm American.
Oh shit.
Oh, God. And that's the problem where you get people from other parts of the country coming into a spot.
Well, first of all, I was born in Louisiana, which is the armpit of the United States.
Yes.
Let's be honest. So I'm not too far from Texas. The point about it is like, but again, it's all about. All about good and bad, negative and positive, rules. Evil and good. That's what it's based upon. And the fact of the matter is, not changing a city's name, I get that because there's so much involved in that, but changing a fucking building? Come on. Tearing down a statue? And the thing about it is, the interesting thing about it is, when they pull those statues down, especially the ones in the House of Representatives and the Congress, they don't destroy them. They store them in our archive.
And then it's just like, it's like I said, you're trying to make it where it's like it doesn't, but it's like, all right, abortion, state rights. And then it's going to go further. Well, then it's go further. We're going to get rid of the pill, or we're going to get rid of this.
Look,
You start one thing. Okay, there's no way to stop it.
You jump from a general who massacres people to the abortion pill. Where did that come from?
Because you're talking about people taking steps one step further and further, and it's
I'm talking about people who are actually negative in our history. And I'm just telling you, the stuff you do, you lose half the people right off the bat when you do this. I think we lost Kara a long time ago.
We did.
But this was a good episode, I think.
It was a great episode. Yeah. Michael, you gonna be okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, he's fine. I mean, we were close to this at the pub.
Okay, it ain't gonna summarize your stand. Go, Kara. Summarize your stance on renaming the shit.
On renaming.
I'll go last.
Yeah, rename. Yeah, like just in a nutshell, where do you stand on renaming schools and cities and all that shit, based on
and sports teams and what have you?
I don't think we should.
Okay, very good. I
You
also
already
do
know
not
mine.
think we should, because I agree with Rick. I think we should respect and study our history. So
Well,
that
you're
way
not
we
agreeing
can,
with me, though.
He says we
says
should.
change
Oh.
the names.
Oh, you think we should? Oh shit! I feel like you've been lost a whole lot.
but again, I'll explain mine in a second. But you're not 100% in agreement with it. But I get where you're going.
Okay,
I
we
told
already know
you.
where the fuck you stand.
I believe that there are certain things that it makes no sense to change names. There's no reason for it because historically it's not making a negative impact. I do believe that people are going overboard. I do. But I also believe that from a historical perspective, it has a negative against our history of our country. It needs to be changed.
Right.
That's simple. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Buddies, Booze, and Banter, Unfiltered Conversations. I'm Rick.
I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
And Kara.
We're all still buddies. That was a good one.
Oh my God.
Hope so.
We were like this at the pub. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they were looking at the pubs like, are they arguing?
Do we need to call the police?
Because,
Michael, I'll name whatever you want after you.
because
I'll
we
name my
were
car
literally
after you.
like that
That's not
animated.
his point. That's not his point.
Not his point. He's not that famous. Well,
That's rude.
outside of his own brain.
You're famous to me.